Full disclosure, news and commentary number 92, 92, 92, 92, 92. What's going on? It's been a ridiculous day and it's a crazy day. Um, I'm here by the pool. The sun's beginning to go down. I wanted to come out here and knock it out outside. Um, I'm putting the finishing touches on that Hogan's Hideout review video. So that should be good to go tonight as well. But it's full disclosure. Monday is full disclosure day. So I got to knock that out for sure. Hopefully this microphone's working well. It's worked well in the stead of my usual one. I'm getting that one back. I will be reunited with that one on Wednesday. So it goes. Patreon people, you've been rocking it out. What can I say? It's nice picking up new people. I hope I continue to do that throughout the year. Justin and Joe Black, D, Dan, Derek, and Diana, Brett, Larry, Rob, Rod, Brian. That Larry, by the way, is not that one, but the other one. And then, of course, the OGs, Eric and Myron. You guys are great. You guys are wonderful. Pro South had a very successful show. I've seen a few matches from it. Um, some people did not take kindly to my look at the tag match in there. Well, fuck you. Fuck you if you didn't like it. Fuck you if you thought that it's like, oh, you got to make sure you say something positive. What the fuck is this? Um, you know who I was contacted by more than anybody was former trainees of mine, people that I had trained in the past that were like, dude, you know how much I loved watching that shit? And you know how useful that information was? And you know how lucky those guys are to fucking hear this shit that they've obviously never heard laid out like that before? Yeah. Former students of mine who, by the way, I think to a man and woman, they would say that they had it much rougher than any fucking video review that I've put out on this thing. So fuck you guys. If you don't like it or whatever, then fucking go somewhere else where they're going to jerk you off nicely. In fact, there were things I could have said about that tag match in general that I did not, though I heard other people looked at it and, did a thorough examination as well, and I think that that's great. What am I going to talk about in the commentary? I'm going to talk about things in the commentary. I think there's a sort of a common thought that what's going on now is always worse than what was going on before. And I want to kind of dispel that notion. I want to talk about all the ways that it's kind of better now than it's ever been, even in the wake of COVID. So that's going to be our commentary for today. This the first full disclosure of the new year? It certainly is. So that is certainly exciting. I didn't have a chance to go by my PO box. My PO box is not um, right next to my house by any stretch of the imagination. So I just didn't really get away from the house because I was doing prep for this video, for the Hogan video, and a bunch of other stuff. It's going to be a busy, crazy year. Let's get into it, though. Pro South had that great show, very successful. Bunch of title matches, a bunch of different promotions represented, and can you believe that we're here? It's quite an amazing and different and varied and interesting time. Live Wire, those pictures of Matt Sells with the bloody arm, and got to see Jimmy Jacobs. All that's very exciting for the Boozerweight Classic 2. They had 100. So Renegade had 90. Boy, those guys continue to sort of march on and do their thing. Wrestling United had 80 with a report by Rob Rod that's on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com. You definitely want to check that out. Wrestling United, by the way, is going to do a fundraiser show for the venerable and as yet uncrowned, but I have a feeling going to be crowned legend. Good old Ox, man. We love Ox. Pro Wrestling Circuit had a show. I haven't heard anything about it, and I hope to. I hope to at least get some kind of show summary. And AWE had their show of the year, which looked like a barn burner as well. Yeah. KLT had close to 400, and there's a report of that show up. gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com, put up by Larry. Some people, I guess, don't know how to read Larry's reports in that they don't know what he's saying without saying it all the time. If you're one of those people, um, you can always write me if you don't know what I'm talking about. But a number of people were like, oh, Larry seemed like he went really easy in that report. Clearly, you don't. If you're one of these people that don't know how to read Larry in any way, shape, or form by now, what you should do is take your hand and slap yourself very hard across the face. This Friday, Rob pointed out this Friday there are 5 shows going on in the province and the domain where Georgia wrestling history covers. Think about that: Southern Honor, Action, Pro South, PCW, and KLT, all running this Friday, all running with big matches. I mean, if you haven't even kept up with PCW and the big stuff that they've been setting up lately, that video series of Naja making his comeback is as good as anything anybody's putting out right now. It's really phenomenal stuff. Just really great. I love the varied content that's going up on Georgia wrestling history right now. The thing about the LGBTQ 100 that a number of Georgia notables made the list, and people who are closely associated with Georgia wrestling made that list. I thought it was cool that that list is out. I thought it was cool that Larry went through it and pointed out the notables and all that kind of stuff. I did think it was strange that Chris Crunk wasn't part of that list, right? But we're going to actually talk about that more in the commentary portion. Cool. Tipping Point Awards, I was going to do a little stunt where I was going to look at last year's winners with the Magic 8 Ball to see if they were going to repeat or not. I didn't remember to bring the Magic 8 Ball with me, frankly. And frankly, it's dumb, stupid shit anyway. I will say this. I have been forgetting about the Mentor Award, and I think we forgot about it last year. So that's going to be a thing this year. My God, there are a shit ton of awards. By the way, I was told today by the person who is making the awards and the trophies that they have all the materials necessary to make it. Think about what that's going to entail. That's at least 16 awards. It's madness, but they're on top of it. And they just need to get a scan of the proper person to make sure that we have the Goodmans, as we're calling these awards, ready to go. The GWH Awards. Speaking of those awards, on Tipping Point tomorrow, we're going to be talking about them. We're going to talk about the awards, when the due dates are for different things. We're going to wrap up the nomination process as fast as we can, and then so people can get to voting. And so, in my perfect world, we would be doing awards not tomorrow, but the week after, in my perfect world. I haven't talked to Larry about that yet, but we'll see if we can get that together. There's a lot of people working on this stuff to make it sure it happens. We need to make sure to say thank you to those motherfuckers. Cool. What else is going on? The videos I'm putting out this week. The Raw Legends is tonight. I'm definitely going to have stuff to say about that. I'm going to have stuff to say about Dark. And I'm going to give Impact one last chance, y'all. One last chance. Wednesday, of course, is Dynamite, which looks to be a big one because now this will be the first week of their 2-week New Year's celebration shows. I saw where Hikaru Shida is wrestling Abaddon, for example. So that's happening on Wednesday, along with NXT. And then you have, and they're doing their New Year's Evil show, right? Hosted by Dexter Loomis. So that's Wednesday's big again, and then Friday will be SmackDown. Jumping Jesus on a pogo stick. In between there, I'm definitely going to get a P list in there about what I can honestly tell you I have no idea, but it'll probably be something awards related. Um, and and then I have the Hogan video to put out tonight as well. Madness, madness. Also, the Go Big show, which is the kind of variety show, the extreme variety show that's happening on TBS, I believe. Starting on Thursday, I'm going to be involved in this project where we analyze those acts as well. So it's a lot. It's a lot for your boy, but this is what I love to do, and so I'm more than happy to do it. Um, Scott Hensley's top 10 action matches list. If you haven't seen that, that's on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com. Definitely check that motherfucker out. I loved looking through it. It was a good way to sort of catch up with a lot of what Action has done throughout the year. They're one of those groups that really didn't go away, except when they had to go away when everybody else did. But they've run as many, or more shows than just about everybody in 2020. So it was great catching up with that list. And then Larry's top 10 stories of the year. I wasn't expecting him to put that thing out, and boy, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was just very smartly written. It's a Larry thing. You know it's going to be good. So you definitely want to take a look at that. And we are at the commentary. And now I'm going to take my time a little bit. This isn't in a list form, but I do have a bunch of things just sort of scattered on here, and I want to talk about it. First of all, the people providing the awards. You know what? No, I'm gonna save that. But it's a figure of your imagination, who a number of wrestlers have already enlisted um, him for their service for the once JT talent, who makes these things with his printer, 4D printer, 3D printer, and they're absolutely amazing. Um, yeah, you'll see how amazing is in a little bit, I suspect. Not during this video, but soon, I'm gathering. Um, Here's what my commentary is about. So the party line, and this was sort of inspired by something that Dylan, the booker at Southern Honor, posted, where he was like, you know, things in Georgia wrestling are really good, and things with Southern Honor are really good, and blah blah blah. And I understand he's got to preach that line, right? Um, you know, wrestlers don't want to wrestle here. Well, that's news to these guys that are on the show. Blah blah blah. Look, I only know what I hear. I only know what people are telling me. It is what it is. But he is right, that in many ways, in spite of the fact that wrestling was just wiped out, and again, look at Larry's top 10 wrestling stories of the year in Georgia, to really get the scope of just how badly things were just wiped clean because of COVID and the reactions to COVID. And but nonetheless, Georgia wrestling has made a comeback unlike any other state. Now you could say Florida, but you know, Florida had a little bit of help of, I don't know, the two major national companies running there constantly. That certainly helped. And they've done a number of other things, and they get the benefit of, you know, ICW coming and doing shows. In fact, this weekend they're back again. They're back with another show on Saturday. So that's yet another video and or article that I have to do about my second time going into that. And I'm going to attend No Peace on Friday. So No Peace on Friday, ICW on Saturday. It's going to be bonkers. But it did get me thinking, and it is true that so many things about Georgia wrestling are really good right now. So I wanted to highlight those things as the sun goes down. One, Gary Lamb. I want to give him props for something, and I want to give him props for something that people would not expect, including Gary. And it is this. There have been a lot of promotions that basically served as vanity promotions for the promoter. Rampage, etc. Where you got guys that didn't know what the fuck they were doing that would inevitably end up in a wrestling ring. And it happens at just about every promotion, right? But Gary Lamb does not. Gary Lamb has not been put in some kind of weird tag team thing or something where he uses physicality to get over on one of the boys or some kind of bullshit. Gary will talk with you and he'll rip people up on the mic and he'll go on Facebook and all that kind of shit. But Gary has not indulged his ego with this pointless thing of him getting in the ring and getting a pin on some kind of fucking wrestler. And this has been done by just about everybody. Even people who you would not expect at one point have gotten into the ring and gotten over on one of the wrestlers. Even Charles, I remember he did a thing where he like splashed Chris Nelms or something like that. Like, and Manders has gotten in there. And I'm not saying nobody should do that ever. What I'm saying is we should appreciate the fact that Gary Lamb has not done that. I appreciate that. He is a promoter, first and foremost. He is not even involved in the day-to-day running of that show, that like nuts and bolts thing on show day. I witnessed it myself. He's walking around making sure things are running smooth, but he's not there sit there obsessively watching the matches. And he seems to have zero interest in getting into that ring and putting his ego over. Now, he is their best act in a lot of ways. So I'm sure the temptation is there, at least from other people wanting Gary to do it. But he has avoided that. And I think he needs to get credit for that. So that's why I'm starting off with him to make sure he gets due credit for not using Southern Honor merely as another tool to like satiate his ego in some way, some dumb form or another. And Dylan hasn't booked it, or if Dylan has tried to book it, Gary has said no. Whatever the case may be, I'm glad. Now, does that mean that Gary should never be used in a heat angle? They've tried that kind of thing before to different effects with their crowd, and maybe Gary will be involved in a big, huge heat angle. Sure, great. But I'm saying up to this point, we haven't seen it. And I appreciate the fact that we have not. Here's another one that I really appreciate. Slim J, though the Georgia wrestling scene misses him very much, the fact that he kind of slipped away gracefully is unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful that we didn't have to witness Slim J being an old bitter fuck or breaking his body down to nothing or struggling to deliver the Slim J that we all know and love. And the fact that he slipped out gracefully and he didn't make a fucking big deal about it to people. Um, it really says a lot about that guy and I think where his life is right now. He's got the wife, got the kid, he's happy from all appearances, and I respect Slim so much. Slim is one of those guys that I was just desperate to see make it in some way, shape, or form. And what I missed, and I think a lot of people missed, is this simple fact. Slim J has made it. He's happy in life. And that goes for a number of people that I trained who I wished so much for. But that was really like a parent that just wishes their children could just make it and make up for the fact that they didn't get the career they wanted in wrestling or what the fuck ever. Like when I look at Hayden Young slash Patrick Elch and I look at how happy he is, it just fucking makes me happy, man. It makes me happy when these guys are doing well. And Slim J is that guy. So I appreciate the fact that Slim J managed to fucking leave the wrestling business with a little bit of dignity. It's damn near impossible to do. Jury's still out about me, leaning towards no. Oh, fuck, I can't. It's here on the list, and so I'm not going to push it back anymore. Chris Crunk is doing great shit. Great fucking shit. When they told me about the fucking thing that they did at Pro South with him and how audience are saying that he went too far and, you know, the elements of it felt very real and the shove that he got and everything that he's fucking done with it, it's fucking good. And obviously the shit he's done in the last couple of months has been really fucking good. And then I watched a match and I went, he's fucking good. He used to do way too much. Now he does the proper amount. His matches are exciting without being excessively so. And it's about angle and story and those ridiculous promos that he puts out. where he's just sort of riffing and sort of making fun of the notion of doing a promo, yet doing a promo while doing that. Um, we can argue about the merits of it, but I will say that it is one thing. It is riveting. And I'm using the words like riveting. Look at the size of that fucking rat crawling on the scary as shit. Um, I'm using the words riveting, entertaining, um, controversial in the good way. Fucking Chris Crunk. I said it. Chris Crunk is fucking good. Oof. Um, guys are getting gigs, serious gigs. The AEW dark stuff and getting signed off of that. And then mysteries on who's gotten signed or who's. You know how many times Sean Dean has shown up on that shit? 20 times or more. And you look at Griff Garrison and you look at Alan Angels. And Alan Angels now tweets something about being mad at MJF and it hits the fucking wrestling news wire. Right? This shit's amazing. And then I look at it's more Florida guys than Georgia guys, but I look at a lot of Florida guys that I know, guys that Larry and I interviewed not too long ago, and now they're showing up on fucking WWE. And they're going to do a wave of two things are going to happen at the beginning of the year, a wave of signings and a wave of firings, especially with a bunch of people who apparently did not want to sign contracts with the WWE. It's going to be a crazy time, and Georgia is in the middle of all of this shit. And I think people need to stop for a second and appreciate that motherfucking fact. Ring of Honor is going to be signing people from Georgia. Impact did and will continue to do so from Georgia and Florida, and it's fucking awesome. Please appreciate that, folks. Please appreciate that, because it's something that I talk about with wrestling people all the time, that we're afraid that like this whole thing is out of whack, that people don't understand that what they're used to getting paid and like the whole economy of wrestling, even at the indie level, is being thrown out of whack, and there's going to be an adjustment period, but the simple fact is it's a good time to be one of the boys slash girls. And that's wonderful. And Georgia's at the fucking top of that motherfucking mountain. Appreciate that. Because a lot of times the wrestlers go through this thing of, yeah, fuck Georgia. You need to go out of state. You need to go out of state. Is there anybody who. I haven't heard that fucking yin yang lately. Have you? No. No. Youth is being served. This whole notion of glass ceilings and all that shit is gone. If you push hard enough and you got a gimmick great enough, guys just book your gimmick. We've never been at this kind of time where there's been less meddling with wrestlers' gimmicks than ever. And part of that is guys are just bringing it so strong, it's easier for bookers to just go, just give me Tyler Culprit and let him do his shit. I can imagine a million things to do with Tyler Culprit, so that's what they're doing. As opposed to, in my time, we did more like tweaking of people's gimmicks or out and out changing of them. Or I thought of this gimmick and I'm looking for the right person to come in and do it, like in the case of Supernatural or something like that. Now we can weigh the pros and cons of either, but the fact is youth is being served. The wrestlers are so strong right now that people are just wanting to book them up. It's why you see a ton of guys on this, on multiple shows, and you just go like, oh, and Southern Honor should be proud of the fact that they have guys that only wrestle for them and tend to not wrestle for the other Georgia shows. That's fucking great and all, but the reason guys like Logan Creed are everywhere is because he's fucking good, and people want to have good talent on their fucking shows. The reason Tyler Culprit's showing up on everybody's fucking show is because his shit is so strong, and you feel like your show is missing out if you don't have him. That's great. The reason fucking Hold My Bear Hansen gets booked is because the guy walks in and everybody fucking goes nuts for him. It's fucking wonderful. We're at a great time. Will Carter, fucking David Ali, and all these motherfuckers who are going to different places and getting over and getting booked. It's fucking wonderful. I will tell you, The guys that I booked at PCW, who are infinitely talented, had a much harder time getting around, undeservedly so. Once they did, then people didn't want to let them go. But it was hard because they had the label of being PCW guys, which is my fault. I'm a mouthy motherfucker. And people wanted to heap all kinds of abuse on them. But once they saw them in action, they went, all right, there's no more of that. Now there's places that are actively like fucking needing these guys, and it's fucking wonderful. We're in a boys' paradise right now. It is definitely leaning towards the boys. Um, Leagues in Georgia need the boys more than the boys need the leagues. When's the last time you heard this bullshit from fucking promoters and bookers? Oh, I wish people would quit bothering me. There's proper channels with which to contact us if you want to get booked. And we're booked out for 3 or 4 months anyway, so we don't need. Remember that fucking arrogant bullshit that's been going on the last few years? You don't hear it anymore, do you? And you shouldn't hear shit like that. Good for you. Good for wrestling. Um Shane Marks and Sal Renaro, I want to talk about them. They've been doing this shit a long time. And usually, when guys hit their mark in terms of years, you know what you have? Guys who rest on their laurels, don't really deliver in the ring like they used to, and just kind of ride on that. I mean, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about if you're involved in pro wrestling anywhere. You know, the guys that have been doing it 10 years plus who are now like, I'm the veteran, I've been the 17 year. We used to, in my day, we joked about the 17-year veteran because it always seemed like these fat out of shape loser motherfuckers that didn't do anything were 17-year veterans always. But you know what I'm saying? These guys that don't deliver in the ring and maybe never did, and would put it under the premise of, well, I tell a story in the ring and blah 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 blah. Yeah, the same fucking story, and it ain't that over. But Shane Marks and Sal Renaro continue to deliver and inspire that the people that they work with, the bookers who work so closely with them, and they elevate the cards that they're on. And there other people, sure, but I'm highlighting those two because those two guys are who you should be looking to for advice and leadership. Part of the reason you should do that is because they don't crave that kind of attention, which honestly makes them perfect for that job. And then finally, you can get motherfucking figures made of yourself. Of course, the dream is, WWE or AEW doing it for you. But the fact is, I was never able. Now, C Block, my friend who died, who I wrestled with in Colorado, made a Lethal Litigator figure, which I'm probably never going to get have my hands on, and that was super cool. But now you can just get it done. Again, figure of your imagination. I'll try to remember to put the links down below. They got an Instagram, but he's swamped with work, but he's got time for you, and you'll get a fucking figure that looks like you. Scan your head, the whole fucking deal. These are amazing times we live in. And you know how we used to always rip on people's posters and flyers not that long ago? Now, that's the rarity. That's the exception, not the rule. And that's amazing too. The expectations have elevated for gear. Expectations have elevated as far as the kind of flyers people put out. Yes, there's still shitbird shows that put out shitbird products, and it will always be that way, by the way. But the fact is, things have looked better than ever before. You're able to get fucking shirts for yourself and sell that bitch. I've never seen this many guys at this level of the game with merch and all the rest of that shit, and it's fucking awesome. And you can get fucking advice up the yin yang. Never have people been so open that know what the fuck they're talking about, like me, who are willing to help you out. So we're in the salad days, folks, and we're in 2021. We're finally out of the specter of 2020. That doesn't instantly make anything better. Don't get me wrong. But opportunities are there and they abound. And it's fucking awesome. One last little thing I want to address that's got nothing to do with it, but I forgot. I've seen this discussion about KLT and whether they were following protocols or not. Now, and people trying to defend them or people trying to rip them. Here's my take based on Larry's report. They did temperature checks, which is something that's better than nothing, but not much better than nothing. Let's be real. They didn't do any kind of mask enforcement. Everybody in that 400 crowd is packed in right next to each other. Yeah, they separated the wrestlers from the crowd, so that was good, but they didn't take any kind of measure to separate the crowd from one another. So it's just basically a fucking spreader event. That's the truth. Now, did they follow the letter of the law as far as protocols? Yes. There. Is that accurate? Yes, all around. And it is what it is. And obviously, the bare minimum was done. I'll just say that from a social mores sort of perspective. In any case, let's continue to do better. Let's continue to take advantage of the opportunities we have. Sign up for my motherfucking Patreon because I'll just be honest. A ton of people are asking me for advice and getting advice from me. And that shit takes up so much of my time. I don't mind doing it, but motherfuckers, just like you want to be paid for your expertise and what you do, so do I. It's one of my big goals for fucking 2021. I'm just saying. Anyway, it's nighttime. The mosquitoes are out, so that means I need to get in. This has been Full Disclosure.